What is going on, my Bob Nation? I am Bob's Bowser, and I am here with another video. And in this video, we are here with yet another deck battle video. And in this video, we'll have some new decks coming off and facing each other. And I will have the deck profiles for these decks coming up soon. So I am very excited about this video overall. It was a very good battle, I think. And can't wait until we see what happens here. And so I'm here on the left playing a Gengar Wobbuffet Crawdaunt deck, and my opponent is here playing the new deck from Ancient Origins, which is a Giratina Viaplume deck. So it's a very interesting matchup, honestly, I have to say here in this video here. And yeah, we'll just see what happens. So, don't know who got heads on the, or whoever won the battle, but I did, as I just draw a card, attach a Psychic Energy to the Gengar, and just Sycamore, and discard a lot of supporters in my hand, which really is not a good thing when you ever want to get those, because that is just, when you get a Sycamore and you discard a bunch of supporters, you never want to do that, really. You know, now it's a little bit not as effective, or not as bad, I should say, with VS Seeker now in the format, but it was horrible before because, you know, if you discarded or used a Sycamore and you discarded like 2 ends, well, there goes like a lot of your draw power. So that is just really key that really was necessary for decks. And overall, good start. I've got the Wobbuffet right there, so next turn I can get that double colors attached to Gengar and go into that Wobbuffet there. And we can see that my opponent starts with a lone Miltank. So that Miltank is actually just there because Viaplume is a stage 2 Pokemon, and Miltank can do actually quite a lot of damage. It's a non-EX attacker, so, you know, it's always helpful in situations where you might have to attack without using an EX. So we'll just see him drop an energy to the Miltank and attach a Muscle Band. And play a Shauna. So we'll see what he can do here right now. Maybe, hopefully, he can pull up a Viaplume and get that going pretty good and early. So he can try to lock down my deck, because if this deck gets locked down with the Viaplume, it can get slowed down incredibly. So we'll see what happens here. And we're just going to see. Let's see what he's got in his hand. He's got a Giratina, so he does pull what he needs to pull. He also pull a Silent Lab, so that will shut off the Wobbuffet. And this is where I said it gets really tricky, because trippy, I should say, because with Viaplume, items are locked, right? Wobbuffet will lock out that ability, but Silent Lab cancels Wobbuffet's ability, which cancels the locking of Viaplume. So if Silent Lab is out, then Viaplume's ability still works. But that is completely irrelevant, as we see a Skyfield drop down after that. And we'll see a Crawdaunt come down and just discard an energy of that Miltank. And for those of you that don't know what Crawdaunt does, it's when it evolves, it just discards an energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. Can be special or regular, and it's just a really good card, and I really love playing it in this deck here. we will see probably just a Dark Corridor here going into the Wobbuffet, as that Silent Lab is gone now. If Viaplume happens to come out in the upcoming turns, as long as that Silent Lab again doesn't pop out, items will not be lacked. And that is really key in this deck. It's really just preventing abilities from being used in the game, and Wobbuffet does a pretty good job of it, unless it's going up against another Psychic deck, whereas Wobbuffet can't cancel out things like bats and stuff, so that's kind of annoying. But for things like Bronzong and Viaplume and stuff like that, it's just a really great thing. And especially with the reprint of Floatstone, it just makes it so much stronger, because now you don't have to attach a Mystery Energy to the Wobbuffet, which really stalls out that deck. You can just attach a Floatstone and you can retreat. So now your deck could get set up possibly turn 2, rather than having to Dark Corridor blindly into a Wobbuffet, hoping that you have a Mystery Energy that you can pull, in that upcoming turn to attach it to the Wobbuffet to even retreat if your opponent doesn't knock out that Wobbuffet. So, that kind of helps the deck, I think, overall. And when you pair that up with a Crawdaunt, it becomes so much better. But the only thing is, when you play this deck, you have to remember that when Wobbuffet is out, you cannot play a Crawdaunt because it cancels the ability of Crawdaunt. So that's why, you play the Mystery Energy in this deck, but Floatstone in a build with Floatstone in it, which should be built, not the Mystery Energy build, just because Floatstone build is better. And at the time of this video, I didn't know that it was getting reprinted. The news wasn't out yet. So you guys will see the Mystery Energy being attached to Wobbuffet. Just keep in mind, though, that, and I'll also say this in the deck profile coming up, that use the Floatstone, because that's a lot better. So just keep that in mind. And really, I'm just in the driver's seat right now. I'm already getting another Gengar charged up here and getting ready to knock out that Miltank. So this is just really great turn overall myself. And I've been able to hold off my opponent with the Crawdaunt and that enhanced hammer on the Giratina. So really been doing good overall. So we will see another VS Seeker and to grab a Sean here, and it appears that I'll be playing that Shauna. Yep, I will play that Shauna, and I'm probably looking to grab that Mystery Energy here, or the Floatstone in the newer build of this deck, and really just I'll be looking to pull something that will help me out. Maybe a Muscle Band, but really, the Mystery Energy is important, so I can actually retreat that Wobbuffet in the first place. And I did pull that Mystery Energy, so that is good, and that's what I hoped for. So now I will be able to knock out that Miltank, so that is very good. Just get a prize card early on this deck, and my opponent's really going to have to pull off something amazing now to make a comeback. Although it doesn't look like it right now, he doesn't really have any energy on the field. And, that's the power of Crawdaunt. Just preventing your opponent from really getting energy out on the field in the first place. So, I didn't attach that Mystery Energy. Maybe it's because I did attach a Double Colors Energy to the Gengar. Might have forgotten about that there. But we will see another energy go to the Giratina. Maybe the poison would have just knocked out Miltank, so that's why I didn't attach the Mystery Energy. But we will see that drop down now, and we will see a Professor Birch. So, hoping to hit the heads here on the Birch, like always. And, yeah, so this deck here is built for the newer rotation, as well as the Giratina Viaplume deck, as most of the cards are in the new rotation. And, yeah, pretty much all the decks now coming up here on this channel will be from a newer rotation. I might look at some expanded decks because expanded is a bigger thing now because it was announced that regionals will now be played entirely in expanded. And whether you like it or not, decks like Durant and Shiftry and all the decks that people loved or hated will be coming back. But I think it really, I personally love this because I think it opens up just everything to so many different deck combinations. Unfortunately, there could be some loopholes in the format that people could find, and I'm not really happy about that. But you know, I'm excited for things like this because I can see a Crawdaunt and I could play De-Evolution Spray just to pick it up. It's like an AZ, and I don't have to run AZ, and you know all these things. You know, run out with a Durant, some Shiftry just to stall out and mill your opponent. And you know, if that can win the game, I would have very much fun with that. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Some people aren't though. They fear that again, there's going to be some loopholes and stuff. So you know, stuff like that. And yeah, so we'll get to see some more damage drop on down to that Giratina, 90 to be exact, and that is including the poison. And really, I'm still in the driver's seat. We're gonna see another Giratina EX drop down, and that is a proxy, obviously, and a double dragon energy drop down to that. And really, I don't know what my opponent's really gonna have to do here to get in the driver's seat again. I mean, a Silent Lab could definitely help if he can get a Viaplume out. I think that's really the only way he can win now. If he can get that Silent Lab out and get the Viaplume, but I mean, at this point, could probably run away without even any items. And the only time it really hurts is in the beginning of the game where I really need to get those muscle bands on the Gengar and the float stones. Not in this one. to those Wobbuffets because it runs the deck, honestly. And I've tested with Giratina Viaplume, and it's really a bad matchup, honestly, for Gengar Wobbuffet. Not specifically Gengar Wobbuffet, but I've played with Gengar Trevenant because if you can't get that Floatstone on Trevenant, you're stuck attacking with the Trevenant. And it only has 110 HP, so if your opponent can find a Muscle Band, which kind of happen every once in a while, then they're just going to be one-shotting your Trevenant. So then I thought of running maybe an Aegislash or something. Well, most decks run the Silent Lab. So, you know, I'm excited to see Floatstone come back because it really opens up a lot of opportunities. And I think Gengar Trevenant's going to be even bigger now with so many more Mega decks and decks that really need those early on items. So I'm trying to perfect to see if I can get that, you know, turn one Wally very consistently. I'm going to just build like a deck with all these crazy cards just to get it out early. And, yep, we're going to see actually the Giratina get some damage on that Wobbuffet there, 100. But unfortunately for my opponent, we're just going to see a Contra come down and take away that double colorless energy. So, yeah. Kind of annoying there. The power of Crawdaunt still lives. And we're going to play see a Super Scoop Up go. And it's going to be heads. So, you know, it's just idea of the game. And I'm going to pick it up and place it on the other Pokemon right there and take out the double dragon. You know, it's the game. And I'm just going to Dark Corridor and get some damage on that Giratina. And really, I just really good game, honestly, for myself. Able to get the right pieces in the right time. And we will see an AZ. Oh, no, okay, it's going to get knocked out. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe my opponent AZ'd or something. That's why I picked it up. So, well, we'll see a double colors get attached to the Giratina EX. And, you know, really, I hope I can get some better videos with Giratina Viaplume because, honestly, it's just a good deck. This is a really bad matchup for it because Wobbuffet. Silent Lab's a thing, but I mean, this deck runs Skyfield, so it's not really a big problem because just keep the Skyfields in play and you'll be fine. And most Giratina Viaplume decks don't run like 4 Silent Lab or anything because they can't really. They can only run usually like 2 because they have to run Forest of Giant Plants, and you really don't want to run like 8 support or 8 stadiums. So, that just becomes an issue. And so we can see my opponent, he's checking how much energy are in the discard pile. Quite a lot there. Again, the power of Crawdaunt. The power of Crawdaunt is just powerful. And you guys might notice that, like, I'm playing a Crawdaunt technically with Wobbuffet in the active spot. Yes, I know it's technically not supposed to happen, but if I have a Mr. Energy attached to the Wobbuffet, I can do it anyway because I just retreat, get into the Gengar. So, just to, save time and prevent me from having to every turn move the Gengar in and then move it out after I draw Corridor. If I have the Mr. Energy, it's going to happen. So, yeah. And, yeah, just really great game on my side. Not so much for my opponents, unfortunately. And, yeah. So we're gonna see another little bit of damage come here onto the onto the Giratina rather, and I only have just a few more prizes left, it appears. So knocking out this Giratina could win me the game if there is just 2 prizes left. Unfortunately for the glare, I can't really see what I just played. I missed it. We'll soon see. That's a Birch. Okay. And I get a heads on the Birch. Something I probably really don't need at this point because I really don't need it because my deck is probably getting incredibly thin as I just checked the deck. That's another thing. Sometimes you want that heads on Birch and sometimes, surprisingly enough, you don't want that heads. So, yeah. Sometimes you want it, sometimes you really don't. Sometimes you're begging not to have that Birch because, honestly, that flip could decide the game for the worse for you. Just see my opponent pass the turn and go to me, so I'll just come in and knock it out. So now I have 1 prize card left. There was 3 prize cards that I had taken and still had to take. Gonna see a Lysander get played. And my opponent's gonna choose to pull up the Crawdaunt. No, the Shaman. Would have been a better thing, I think, to pull up the Crawdaunt just because it has a higher retreat cost. I mean, at this point, he'd rather just stall the game because, that's... You just gotta stall at this point. But anyway, I retreat the Shaman by attaching energy to it and slap 80 more damage and poison the Giratina, put another 10 damage on it. And we'll see a double dragon get played. Honestly, my opponents are probably being a good sport there and just playing through the game. And as I said, this deck shouldn't really been counted out. It's a good deck. And there is the end of the game. So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later in the next video. And, there goes the hand. Bye.